Hey everybody, I'm Tatsudoshi.
And I'm Corey Bourbon.
And this time we'll be doing Toy Story 3.
Uno, dos...
No, we got time.
Thrace! Thrace!
Yeah. It is the third most Toy Story movie and the third most Toy Story of Toy Stories.
I got that right.
Yes, you did. I don't know 3 in English. How do I know 3 in Spanish?
I want some cookies. Anyway.
I want cookies. When I saw Toy Story, a funny story about Toy Story 3, before we even get to the review, Spazzy and I were out one day at the mall, and it's just like, we're walking around, and it's just like, we haven't seen a movie in a long time. We haven't gone to actually go to the theater, sit down, and watch a movie in a long time. It had been at least like 3 months since we actually sat down and watched a movie in theaters. It's like, I want to go fucking see a movie in the theater. I don't care what it is. It can be complete fucking garbage. I just want to see something. So we were at the mall. It's like, all right, it's got a movie theater. Let's go check it out and see what we got to see. It's like, so we narrowed it down to 2 movies because those were the only 2 of the entire things that we'd be like, I guess I'll see it. And it was either Toy Story 3 or Scott Pilgrim. We flipped the coin. It ended up being Scott Pilgrim, and we kind of regretted it until today. Well, until we saw Toy Story 3 finally when it came out on DVD. And I know a lot of people are going to be really angry, so if you really love Toy Story 3 and you cried at the end of this movie, please move along. Please exit, turn off your computer, go play with your Tinker Toys and your Legos and your Duplos and all that stuff, and play with your action Woody and action Buzz dolls, and make them have gay sex or whatever you do with your Toy Story toys.
I have some Legos. Legos are the shit.
But Toy Story 3 was the worst Toy Story movie, and it was probably the worst Pixar film ever, in my opinion. It was literally, the writing was bad, the voice actors were the same fucking voice actors that they've been using the entire time, and it'd be disappointing if it wasn't, but they brought nothing new to the table, and, I mean, it was really generic and boring, and I thought Toy Story 1 was the best of the Toy Story movies. Toy Story 2 was unnecessary, and Toy Story 3 was just, hey, you want to milk something that we already killed? So.
Well, if they didn't really kill it, and like 2, there's going to be a 3 at some point. Because they didn't.
There doesn't have to be a 3.
It didn't have to be, but they wanted it to be a 3 because there's still things that are untied and stuff.
Who cares? They left a lot of shit untied in a lot of other Disney movies.
Yes, but Toy Story was Toy Story.
Okay, well, I'll give you that.
Toy Story was Toy Story. It was big. It was like one of the the biggest things that they had. Especially it was one of Pixar's first movies and stuff.
It was one of their most recognized films. See, and a lot of people are like, you can't possibly say that Toy Story 3 was the worst Pixar film. What about A Bug's Life? I liked A Bug's Life. There was a fat little worm that turned into a big fat butterfly. That was funny. And there was a pissed off little flea. That was cool. I liked A Bug's Life. I thought that was actually pretty fun. But Toy Story 3 was just the worst Pixar film. Not the worst Disney film. Just the worst Pixar film. The worst Disney film. Whew. Could have like 3 hours just talking about the worst Disney movies.
But,
one thing I do have to say is the animation for Toy Story 3 was great. Mm-hmm. They did it. This is Pixar in their element, alright? Pixar, 3D animation, you're getting a beautiful product. And a story. Yeah. So, as far as,
it's gonna look amazing no matter what.
Yeah, it's gonna look
what kind of garbage
awesome.
It is.
No matter, it's like... I'd actually probably equate it to Avatar. Looks pretty, substance sucks. It's really just... It's at least it's not as long as Avatar was. It did feel long, though. Toy Story 3 felt really fucking long. About halfway through, we were kind of looking at each other like, okay, how long have we been sitting here? It's just like, are we gonna fucking plot in this at any point? Because, like, the first 30 minutes was... Or at least the first 15 minutes was bullshit, wasn't it?
It was just it was a remembrance of
Reach for the sky. Fucking fake. It's like, and then you find out that it's just fucking. It's stupid.
Oh,
it's fucking
yeah,
the first
yeah.
15 minutes was unnecessary. Take
I
it
don't
fucking
think
out.
I was more like
It was fun, but completely unnecessary, and it just took up
Right.
time. Children's movies shouldn't be long, alright? You're trying to entertain children with this movie. And you're also trying to entertain adults, too. But you're really your core audience is the children. If the children like it, then the parents will watch it anyway. But the fact that this movie just feels long will make kids get up in their seats, fucking rattle around, throw popcorn at you. This movie's boring! I want my SpongeBob! Or something. Who cares? The thing is, the movie feels long for adults. So, can you imagine how long it must feel for a fucking kid? Where 10 minutes is agonizing? When are we leaving?
But the thing is that it's like kids, everybody loved this movie. It wasn't a movie that no one hated. A lot of people loved this movie. I really haven't heard a lot of people say that this was a terrible movie. It was always just praise, and that's the overhypeness it is. Because I thought it was okay, and I mean it wrapped up everything, every loose end that needed to be done,
It did.
and put it in a nice little package. But in terms of it being like
In the overall plot of it, the plot was good. However, everything that got you into the plot and all the jokes and all the dialogue and everything was so fucking dry and boring and embarrassing. I mean, Ken's character, fucking embarrassing. I kind of wanted to not watch him do things because he was just such an embarrassing character. And it's like, I know it's like, oh hey, Ken's a faggot, it's funny. But it's just, there's some things that are just like not, it's like, I know you're trying to write for kids, but Pixar has always done a really good job at making it for both kids and adults. This one did not do that for me. I didn't see it as that at all.
And that's because I'm pretty sure Disney had more involvement.
Disney fucked the story. All right, Disney took its giant Disney.
If it was just Pixar and stuff, I think it would totally have it.
Oh, it would have been. Pixar probably would have went with their original fucking idea of going to Japan. The original plot of this was Buzz Lightyear's getting recalled to the factory in Asia, where, fuck yeah, let's fucking see all the crazy Japanese toys. Fucking, that would open up a whole new world of crazy shit that they could animate. And then Disney's like, canceled. And they're like, I got a better idea. Let's have little faggot here grow up and throw his toys away. And then
put him in
a box and throw him in the attic. But then the box gets
the box gets sent to a daycare. So
the main problem I have with the overlaying plot is that it actually has nothing to do with the first two Toy Story movies at all. I mean, literally, this could have just been called Toy Story, and we could have been this. This could have been the first one.
The first and the last.
Well, yeah, this could have been the first and the last. It could have been about a bunch of toys who were, they played with a kid for a long time, and they had a good, fun relationship, and the toys wanted to be played with again, but the kid's going off to college. That's a fucking beginning, middle, end right fucking there. But the fact that this is a third one in a long, big favorite series for a lot of people, even, game makers have praised Toy Story and Pixar for, the first one at least, for bringing about CGI and all the digital animation and bringing this new technology to people. And basically Toy Story was the big fucking break. It's like, hey, look what you can do with all this shit. And, Shigeru Miyamoto, the guy who created Mario, was like, when I saw Toy Story, I thought that this was the best thing ever. And I immediately took the motion and the CGI and all this stuff, and I put it in my head, and I came up with Super Mario 64. So, Toy Story 1, not just in the fact that it was a pretty good film for families in general, but it was a groundbreaking thing as far as technology was concerned. This was just good animation with Disney trying to mooch things.
They had basically one more shot. Disney had one more shot to throw out advertisements and have toys out, which they are, and that, and people are buying them and stuff because they're kids, and if you can catch, they're kids, kids. And if you shove a toy so much into a kid, they'll want to get it, and you make it nice and shiny for them. And we all know Disney's good at that.
Disney's great at it.
Yeah, so Disney's great at take your money from your kids and shit.
And by your kids, we mean you, because your kids want this.
Right. But yeah, so it's just Disney's like it had a Disney had I believe probably wrote it and was basically the backbone of it, and Pixar was just like, we'll just take care of what we're good at.
Disney basically said, here's everything we want you to do. Animate it. Pixar had a checklist. Animate Toy Story 3. And we're done. You want to go get some lunch? But Disney, in its infinite ability to spread its disease everywhere, did a really good job at just making this a... I don't really think... It was an okay movie, but it wasn't really fun. I mean, if you look at... And we really should dissect it on two separate terms. It's, like I said, it's like Disney and Pixar. On the case of Pixar has a long-running, they had a bunch of movies by themselves before, after they broke apart from Disney. A bunch of movies that they did that were just really good. And even when they went back with Disney, they had their own stories and their own ideas and everything. I mean, look at Up and Wall-E. Those were just really good movies. Wall-E barely had any dialogue in it at all. And it's, to this day, one of my favorite fucking Pixar movies. In fact, it'd probably be one of my top 10 animated movies of all time. It doesn't need dialogue. It's fun. The characters are well designed. The animation's really good. You can see it in 3D or not in 3D, depending on if you want those goofy goggles. It's good. But in comparison to this on the Pixar end, their animation was good, but Pixar can do better than this. I mean, if Pixar had anything to do with the writing, it's like for a fact that they could do better than this, and that their jokes were lighthearted, they were fun, they were family-friendly, but adults got them and kids got them. And they weren't like, I hope my kid laughed at that fart joke. It's just not really Pixar's standard. Disney, on the other hand, this is Disney all over. This is Disney right there. This is what Disney's known for now. I mean, when we were growing up, Disney had some quality shit. And Disney's animation was just fantastic. They were some of the best animators of their time.
Everybody was trying to beat up Disney and stuff, or trying to copy Disney and do what they did because they were fucking ginormous.
Aladdin, Lion King, Little Mermaid.
All those wonderful little things that people remember.
They're good. They're still good, and that's why every time Disney unlocks the Disney Vault, they make $4 billion because, I don't have this one on DVD Blu-ray combo pack yet, but I do have it on DVD, HD, DVD, Blu-ray, VHS, Betamax, cassette, book. But this is really Toy Story 3 is more or less Disney trying to cash the last Toy Story check. And
I get sort of the thing, it's like, it was, for those that are fans of Toy Story, it's like, you'll enjoy it. It won't be terrible for you guys if you're a Toy Story fan and stuff.
If you're a really big Toy Story fan, you love this movie. We're not even listening.
You're the one who's telling everybody else that it's a fantastic movie, that it's just phenomenal.
And you're gonna write that screaming comment, you guys are fucking assholes, this movie was great. It's like...
But for me and Tatsu, more than Tatsu, but Tatsu just kind of was really disappointed.
The thing is I loved Toy Story 1 and 2.
Right.
I loved both of them. Toy Story 1 more than Toy Story 2, but I liked Toy Story 2, and a lot of people are like, it's okay. It's like, it was really good. I mean, they gave, where Toy Story 1 was more about, the toys in general, Toy Story 2 really took a definite more serious turn where, you see just like how other people treat toys, where in the first one it's just like how kids treat toys. It's like, well, here's how adults treat toys, and you see this fucking crazy psycho collector guy and all this shit. It's like, it's pretty dramatic, and you actually had some really good actors in the movie providing some voices for the characters, gave it some more depth, gave it some definite personality. But this one, it didn't have it. It didn't have that magic spark that the first two had for me.
Well, I guess because this one was more of the downer. You know, they gave you the rain and sunshine at the end. You know, sort of. But it was you know, it had a sort of dark-ish things. It had a couple of creepy things.
Oh man, there was some. Once again, I have to say, this is a movie for kids. I've said this on a couple occasions, be it in streams, in reviews, or in different things. It's like, but Big Baby is all I have to fucking say, and most of you out there will go, fucking terrifying, man.
If not, then Monkey. That's another thing.
Screaming monkey.
I'm just saying, two of those things are the bad. I mean, it's a good formula for bad nightmares.
In fact, I think we all had nightmares that night. We were all like, we as soon as we saw the Big Baby, we were like, that's fucking terrifying. Then we saw the monkey, I was like, this is a fucking nightmare. But it's just, some of the things were like, where is this aimed at?
And a lot of it was, just basically, you know, Toy Story 1 was about, you know, sort of getting, you know, Woody getting sort of, you know, feel like he's going to get replaced as Annie's toy. And Buzz,
coming to terms with being a toy.
Being a toy. 2 was basically Woody, like, what is Woody really?
Woody finding out it's like what he was. He didn't know anything about himself.
Right. He didn't know that he was an actual icon and he had his own show and stuff like that. He thought it was just some sort of play, but he was more than that, and he was going in terms of what path he actually wanted to take. And who exactly he really was. So that was more of a Woody story too. Whereas the first one was sort of a Buzz and Woody story. But then this one is just basically, it's not really Woody.
It's a nobody story. Right. It's
just basically about like this
everybody
forgetfulness. It's like basically time.
It's the probably the best written parts of the story were about the Lhasa Hug Bear. His entire little 10-minute thing was just great. That was great fucking writing, alright? When the sad clown, I'm not a big fan of clowns, but this guy I liked because he was a sad clown. But when he started talking and he started telling this whole story, that whole 10-15 minutes, that was the perfect fucking part of that movie. That right there, if you could just like take any part of that movie out and remove the garbage from it, I'd watch that again. That 15 minutes was a great little short story about the Lhasa Hug Bear and, you know, the Big Baby and the clown. That was perfect. In and of itself, it's a very, you know, beginning, middle, end. We don't need any extra bullshit in there. It was very perfect in its simplicity.
But then everything else, it's like as you're narrowing it down to the final act, basically is when things start actually happening.
Yeah, the last like 30 minutes is probably the movie in and of itself. If you really want to just like skip the bullshit.
Because like in the middle, like the second act and stuff, middle, it's like mostly it's just
where the fuck is this movie going?
It's like, you know, it's like, oh, all right, we're still here, happy times, still here, but nothing was really.
Again, it's one of those things that Disney does that they had it with Princess and the Frog, where the first bunch of it, I mean, there's some problems, but there's no real issues. There's no problems up in the ways until about 3/4 way through the movie.
Yeah, until about, like I said, until we get like around the end and stuff. That's when shit starts happening. We have, you know, problems that we need to fix, really. And
but for the most part, you have the whole Princess and the Frog problem, where happy fun sailing all the way blah 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 to the end, and it seems like there's nothing that could go wrong for a really long time, which is kind of boring, to be honest. Right. I mean, as far as somebody watching a movie, it's like there's got to be some conflict in a movie. Even in comedies, you see it's like, oh look, what's gonna happen to that pie? But I think the one thing that pissed me off more than anything in Toy Story 3 was Buzz getting reset again. The third fucking movie does the same fucking thing, and this time he's Spanish.
Good part. Wow, that was some.
That's it's completely unnecessary.
It's got some color to you now.
It's just fucking annoying at this point. All right, it's just aggravating.
Like a strawberry.
Strawberry.
Like a big old strawberry.
But it's just annoying. It seems like they just threw the
Right.
Spanish in there just because, like, hey, we have Spanish fans. Hey, Spanish. It's fucking insulting.
That was another thing.
What
It
is
was,
this, Dora the
It was
Explorer?
another thing that was just sort of unnecessary. Basically, we're going to get out to Nick. I mean, it's like, you know.
What were you gonna say?
Yeah.
I heard near. When I heard near.
I was going to say nitty gritty.
Ah, sure.
You and your mind. But it was, you know, regardless of what we say, I mean, all we're saying is really, well, at least I'm saying is, it was an okay movie, but in terms of it living up to the hype that everybody was pushing, because a lot of people have been saying a lot of good things. I thought this movie was gold.
Best
Right.
animated movie ever. Best in the Toy Story series. Best thing
Right.
Pixar ever
and
made.
usually when it comes to me and Tassim, when we hear something that gets so freaking overhyped and so much publicity, it usually is just like a flip of the coin, and then
It's like, fuck, I hope everybody wasn't bullshitting us.
right.
Fuck. It's
Right.
always that fuck at the end, too. No time have I ever seen everybody enjoy one movie so much and have it live up to everything all the expectations that people put out there. I mean, again, with Toy Story 3, it really did summarize everything, and it's not a bad film. It is one of Pixar's laziest things that they've done.
But they finished up their baby.
But
it's
finished.
good to go.
It's package is wrapped
right.
up. Gonna come out with that triple DVD box set sometime soon.
They should have gotten all the cash in of it. If they have some other sort of Toy Story or whatever, not yet, it would be completely garbage.
Yeah,
even more than this.
The thing is, if they make a Toy Story 4, and God, I hope they don't, because you think it's over, because this Toy Story 3 wraps it up really nicely, but this is Disney. Disney,
it's evil.
Disney, the king of fucking resurrecting their shit. Case in point, The Little Mermaid. The Little Mermaid was a nice, pretty little package of princess meets prince, princess meets villain, lots of trouble, princess ends up with prince. Happily fucking ever after. Fucking 12 years later, what came out? Direct to DVD. Little Mermaid 2, which followed her little bitch of a daughter around. Disney, why do you fucking make sequels to shit that you it's not necessary. Toy Story 3 wasn't necessary. However, it at least, and I think I completely give this to Pixar, it at least, even though it wasn't perfect, it at least wrapped everything up in a nice little box. You can basically say, fucking Toy Story 1, Toy Story 2, Toy Story 3, fucking tie the bow and send it out.
You got your box set, you got what you needed to do, you money grubbing bastards.
End of story.
But that's basically it. I mean, if you saw it, you're gonna see it. But if you haven't, and you're a Toy Story fan, then
the thing is if this is something that needs to know. Even though I didn't really enjoy it that much, I recommend seeing this movie. I actually do recommend seeing this movie, mostly because of if you saw the first one and the second one, be a completionist.
Right.
It's not that long of a movie. It's not that bad of a movie. There are some funny moments to it. There are some fucking terrifying moments to it. All in all, the acting's pretty good. There are a good 65% of the movie is completely unnecessary, and the jokes are just awful. But it's worth finishing. This is, you'll at least have some fond memories of watching the first two, and then when you watch this, you're like, oh, I remember that, and oh, look at all this new stuff, and it kind of just summarizes everything. But I do have to say, everybody who cried at the end of this movie, fuck you. That's just... How do you cry at the end of it? I was expecting it too. It's like, you know what? I'm expecting some big, emotional, fucking triumphant... fucking big giant golden bow on the box of fucking delicious Toy Story epicness. And what do I get? Here's my toys, let's play with them. Nah, 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 nah. Fucking end. Gay. Bullshit. Boring. There's poison in the water hole.
No, that's basically it.
Fucking snake in the foot. There's a snake in my boot.
Yeah.
That's basically the end of the movie. It's like, well, this movie wasn't too bad. well, you can't have Woody, but I like him. Okay, wanna play? You're 18, Andy. Get a job. Get a girlfriend. Nether. Fucking Andy in this movie really does, and Nether's gonna be pissed off at me, but Andy really reminded me of Nether in this movie. He's like
Everything reminds me of
Nether is in every movie, and this time he is the main character. Nether got his own movie about him collecting toys, and he doesn't want to give up his toys, and he'd rather keep his little toy cowboy instead of getting a girlfriend.
I think we were referring to Never is sort of done, dude. So yeah, so that's the review.
It's not bad. It's worth watching at least once to finish up the story. There are some rather embarrassing jokes, and the writing isn't very good. But for the sake of finishing the series, it's not that bad.
Go watch it. You might be surprised.
You might be surprised.
You might be the other people that go, the golden wherever we say. So
yep.
But until then, reach for the sky.
You're my favorite dip.